we are proud to present the mystery of Sherlock Holmes.
Wait. If Moriarty hears a shot, he'll kill Holmes. You keep an eye on the boat. Don't make a move till Dr. Watson and I get inside. Understand? You wait here, Professor Offner. Come on, Doctor.
The water's this way. Moriarty's rooms must be out here.
I can't wait any longer, Holmes. You'll have to forgive the crudity, my friend. This is only the coup de grace.
Stand still, Moriarty, you're done for.
Holmes! On the contrary, Inspector, my men are outside. It's you who are done for.
Really?
Just take a look out the window and see for yourself.
He'll try to get to the speedboat.
Yes, he won't go without Taville.
Come on.
Wait!
Everyone has the ability to solve mysteries. Some are better at it than others. Some are better because they practice. And some who practice are not so good. Sherlock Holmes was good. One of the best. And while he was not the first detective to ever exist, he is one of the most popular and remembered icons still to this day.
Hello.
Sherlock Holmes graced the pages of a few publications in the beginning, but most popularly he was read about in The Strand, a British literary magazine published in the late 1800s. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was the man behind the creation of Sherlock Holmes. Holmes was a brilliant consulting detective. His ability to solve a case through observation, deductive reasoning, and forensic science made him famous, and an intriguing detective character.
This makes 4, Inspector. 4 defenseless women here in the heart of London.
And everyone with the right forefinger hacked off.
Not hacked, Inspector Gregson. Cleanly, expertly severed. The work of a skilled surgeon. That's our only clue.
Much about the age of my sister's girl. Is there no way of stopping this, Mr. Holmes?
Yes. There's a way, somehow. The fiend that did this. I promise. I promise.
We've nothing to go on. That's the rotten part of it. We can't get far without knowing the motive.
Well, at least we know what the motives were not. It wasn't robbery, nor passion, thanks be, nor yet vengeance. Because they all came of totally unrelated families. Steady, Inspector, steady.
Sorry, Mr. Holmes. I don't turn a hair when it's a bloke that can look after himself. A little slip of a thing like that.
Yes, it's horrible. Come on, let's get a drink.
Arthur Ignatius Conan Doyle was a Scottish physician and writer who lived from 1859 to 1930. His family had an extensive background in the world of art. His mother, Mary Doyle, had a passion for storytelling and literature. Her influence on young Arthur made quite an impression on the writer-to-be. Arthur decided to attend medical school at the University of Edinburgh, and he became an MD. Not unsuccessful by any means, he enjoyed the art of writing and eventually left his medical career. After selling a few short stories in 1886, he decided to write a detective story.
Let's see now, I've got to speak one or two words just to try my voice, I understand.
At the time, detective stories were in their infancy. Edgar Allan Poe had a detective character named Auguste Dupin 40 years earlier. Other authors had used detectives and mystery in their stories, but none so memorable as Sherlock Holmes. When Sir Arthur Conan Doyle introduced Sherlock Holmes to the literary world, things changed. Mystery and detective stories became what we know them to be today. Conan Doyle has said that the character of Holmes was inspired by the man he worked for as a clerk, Dr. Joseph Bell from the Edinburgh Royal Infirmary. Dr. Bell was noted as drawing large conclusions from the smallest of observations.
There are two things that people always want to ask me. One of them is how I ever came to write the Sherlock Holmes stories, and the other is about how I came to have psychic experiences and to take so much interest in that question. Well, first of all, about the Sherlock Holmes stories, they came about in this way. I was quite a young doctor at the time. I'd had, of course, a scientific training, and I used occasionally to read detective stories. It always annoyed me how in the old-fashioned detective story, the detective always seemed to get at his results either by some sort of lucky chance or a fluke, or else it was quite unexplained how he got there. He got there, but he never gave an explanation how. Well, that didn't seem to me quite playing the game. It seemed to me that he's bound to give his reasons why he came to his conclusions. Well, once I began to think about this, I began to think of turning scientific methods, as it were, onto the work of detection. And I used, as a student, to have an old professor, his name was Bell, who was extraordinarily quick at deductive work. He would look at the patient, he would hardly allow the patient to open his mouth, but he would make his diagnosis of the disease, and also very often of the patient's nationality and occupation and other points, entirely by his power of observation. So naturally I thought to myself, well, if a scientific man like Bell was to come into the detective business, he wouldn't do these things by chance. He'd get the thing by building it up.
Dr. Tobel, do you suspect the woman of arranging the trap?
Woman? What woman?
She's blonde, 5'6", full-lipped, and very affectionate.
Oh, really?
You've known her for a long time. You were attacked after leaving her apartment.
Holmes, how do you know this?
The face powder on your coat tells me of her height and her affection for you. You held her close before departing.
Studio Holmes?
It's all there for the trained eye to read, Watson.
But look here, why couldn't he have been attacked on his way to the woman's apartment?
The mark of a blow has erased some of the powder. Obviously, if the attack came first, the powder would have remained undisturbed.
And the full lips? That was a guess.
I never guess, Watson. You have rubbed the lipstick from your face with the handkerchief you now hold in your hand. And that amount of lipstick never came from a pair of thin lips.
And the blonde hair? Good gracious me.
Mr. Holmes, I am glad you are on my side.
There is speculation that Dr. Joseph Bell really was Sherlock Holmes, and that Sir Conan Doyle was more than just the author? That he too was part of the story. Perhaps he was Dr. Watson. Speculation still exists. The question will remain. Not much is known about Sherlock's childhood. Did he learn to play the violin?
Oh, do me a favor. Not again. Must have heard that thing 1,000 times.